Kshitij is here. Please call again. He is Kshitij. Shekhar, look into this matter, bro.
I think Rohit will not come. I think
Rohit will not come. He never comes. Okay, I'm going to call him and tell him that come. That's the order.
bro.
हो रहा है हमको गेम पब्लिक करना है, साला लॉगिन नहीं हो रहा है।
काहे भाई काहे नहीं आओगे? So Rohit is again busy in something, so he will join us once again.
Rahul.
What about Rahul?
1 minute.
Kaushal, is my slide visible?
Yeah,
Yes.
visible.
I think Kaushal, whoever is joining within 2 to 3 minutes, we can wait for them, and otherwise we should continue with our this session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today our conductor is Kshitij Prasad, so whatever you say to him.
Kshitij, sorry, sir. Kshitij,
Yes.
you have the power to start at any time.
Yeah, I think Rahul wants link in the WhatsApp group. I think Shekhar, you should call again so that Rahul can join and or send him a link personally.
I will send the link to you.
Ashutosh bhai, are you okay or not?
I am absolutely okay, bhai.
It seems like there is a war going behind you.
Okay, I will switch off my microphone.
Circumstances.
Rahul is with us.
Welcome Rahul, we were waiting for you.
I think we should start. Hello.
Yeah,
Start.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay. I will. Rahul is there. Hello.
Yeah, I am here.
Rahul. Are you prepared with your speech?
Kshitij,
Let
we
me
should
turn this
first
second.
introduce ourselves, like the usual introduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me introduce myself. Myself is Kshitij Ranjan Katia. I am from NIT Patna, from Mechanical Department. My hobby is watching movies, web series, etc. And now, Rahul, you introduce yourself. Rahul?
Yeah, just wait for 2 or 3 minutes. Am I audible?
Yes,
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 Rahul.
yes.
You are completely audible.
Just wait for 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, continue with others.
Okay, 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 okay.
2 minutes.
Prashant,
Okay.
then
Hmm.
you,
Hmm.
Prashant,
So,
then
yeah, yeah.
introduce yourself.
Hmm. Hello to all the warriors. This is Prashant Tripathi, and I am from NIT Patna, Mechanical Engineering Department, from third year. My hobby is to mm, listen to music and read books and to learn poem as well. And that's it from my side. Thank you. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashutosh Kumar Singh, and I am from Patna. I am from NIT Patna, and my hobbies are means reading and writing poetries. But sometimes I usually read novels. Right now, I am reading A Train to Pakistan. Some of you might know that.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself Sekhar Kumar. I am currently living in Sonpur, Bihar, and I am currently pursuing my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from National Institute of Technology, Patna. And my hobby is to play badminton and watch movies. Thank you. Kausal.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kaushal Kumar. Okay, Sandeep, do you want to say hello or not? Okay, so let me
Hello, I am
proceed.
going to say, but I think you are going so I
Yeah, Sandeep, sorry for interrupting you. So my name is Kaushal Kumar and
no
I am
problem.
from Patna. I am doing my BTech from in mechanical engineering from NIT Patna. My hobbies include reading and writing, of course. I have said it too many times. Currently, I am reading As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Very good book if anybody of you is interested. I am also learning to play ukulele and song, also a song on it. So you people may be getting some video of me playing ukulele in few days if possible. So that's all from my side. Over to you, Sandeep.
Hello, lovely people of NIT Patna. Singh, third year student from Mechanical Engineering in NIT, National Institute of Patna, National Institute of Technology, Patna. Playing cricket and helping you guys as a CR. You already that's all from my side.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Soham Gupta. I am from Patna, Bihar. Currently, I am studying in third year of my Bachelor of Technology in Mechanical Engineering from National Institute of Technology, Patna. My hobbies include listening to music. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rahul Kasma. I am 19 years old. I have completed my intermediate from Sikar district. Now I am pursuing my BTech degree from NIT Patna. About my hobbies, I like to play and watch cricket. Thanks.
Okay, Rahul, can we start?
Don't be my first turn, okay? Keep my turn second or third.
Okay, actually, this was the descending order of previous that the Prashant had sent according to roll number. Okay, 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 no problem. So I'm going to start.
Kshitij,
Yes, yes,
who are
yes.
the role bearer of this meeting? Like who is evaluator and who is timer? If you can tell.
Okay, 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 okay. Wait, wait, wait. I am sending the message in the group, Fluency Club. Yeah. Roles for this week: evaluator Kaushal, Rahul, Rohit, Prashant, timer Suham Gupta. Suham, are you ready with your timer?
Yeah, I am ready.
Yeah. You will interrupt when the time is to finish.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, 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 okay. Hello. A very warm good afternoon to everyone. Today I would like to speak on the topic Mahashivratri. Literally it translates as the great night of Shiva. As we all had celebrated on 11th March, Mahashivratri is predominantly a Hindu festival celebrated annually in honor of Lord Shiva, the god of destruction. See, the Shivratri is celebrated in every month of lunisolar calendar, but according to Hindu calendar, it's celebrated once a year, named Mahashivratri. Of the 12 Shivratris observed in any given year, Mahashivratri is considered especially auspicious, and Shivratri is supposed to be the night of convergence of Shiva and Shakti, which in essence mean of masculine and feminine energies to the balance the world. In the Hindu culture, this is solemn festival that marks the remembrance of overcoming darkness and ignorance of life. Different legends throughout history describes the significance of Mahashivratri, and according to one of them, it is the night that the Lord Shiva performs his cosmic dance of creation, preservation, and destruction. As we all know about that Tandav. Another legend dictates that on this night, offering of Lord Shiva's icons can help one can overcome and let go of their sins and start the path of righteousness, allowing the individual to reach Mount Kailash and achieve moksha. Unlike a lot of Hindu festivals, Mahashivratri is not an overtly joyous festival. This is a night reserved for self reflection and introspection for the purpose of growing and leaving behind all the things that hindered our success. So that we celebrated Shivratri is very in good manner. Okay, thank you everyone. I think next is just a minute. Prashant. Prashant, are you ready with your speech?
Yes. Yeah,
Prash-
I'm ready.
Prashant?
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah. Of course, I'm
okay,
ready.
you may start.
Hmm. So, hello everyone. This is Prashant Tripathi, and today I'm going to speak on the topic faith. That what actually is faith and how faith can help us in our life to ace whatever we want. So before proceeding ahead, first of all, what is subconscious mind? Subconscious mind is basically, we can say, a chemical laboratory in our mind where all impulse of thought enters and it gets transmuted into its physical equivalent. Okay. This our whole mind is conscious, but there is a part which is called a subconscious mind, which is very important. Why? Because whatever we feed this conscious mind, this we feed this subconscious mind, it gets transmuted. It has a very high chance of transmuting into its physical equivalent. So now let us come to our original topic, which was what is faith? So faith is nothing. It is an emotion. It is an state of mind which can be developed, which can be induced. How? How it can be induced? It can be induced by affirmation or by repetition of some thought. You know, the three emotions which are very important. No, I should say two emotions which are very important. That is of faith and love. Why? Suppose I'm doing anything. Whenever I do anything, it is the result of thought which comes into my mind. Without having thought,
Prashant, you are not audible. Hello.
Yes, Prashant, you are not audible. I think electricity was pretty. Prashant, hello, Prashant, are you there?
What happened? Is my voice not audible?
You was not audible at that time. Now you are audible. Yeah, you was not
Oh,
audible at
actually,
that time.
sorry. It might happen due to my microphone. I don't know why it happened due to some technical glitch. I think I should start or I should continue from here only.
No. Start.
You should.
From the start, from the starting.
Yeah, because you were audible from the inaudible from the start. I think like 30 seconds in you were audible.
Of course, I can start. So again,
Okay.
to start the time. So hello to all the warriors out there. This is Prashant Tripathi, and today I'm going to speak on the topic faith. Yes, what is the importance of faith in everyone's life? So before coming to the faith, first of all, let me tell you that what is subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is a part of our whole conscious mind, which we can say we feed that subconscious mind with what? Am I audible now, Kaushal? Right now, I think I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, you
Go
are
on.
audible.
Okay,
You are audible.
okay. So we feed this subconscious mind with thought. When we feed this subconscious mind this thought, it transmute it into its physical equivalent. So whatever positive thought, whatever negative thoughts we feed this subconscious mind, there is an equal chance of its execution. That is why wise people say to always remain positive, because our subconscious mind do not have a filter to filter out the negative and the positive thought. It will act same in both the ways, in both the conditions. So now moving towards our topic, this is faith. So faith is nothing, it is just an emotion. It is a state of mind which can be induced or created by repeating a certain thought. So before moving ahead, let me simply ask you a question, that almost everyone has a faith in God. You know why that happened? This happened because from last 20 years, your parents are feeding you the thought what? That God is great. God do great things. God is this. God is that. God create loves. God gives happiness. So they are feeding you with that thought from last 20 years. And that feeding of the subconscious mind from that thought is inclining yourself towards what? Towards God. So this is what? This is practical, that if you want to achieve any goal in life, you simply have to feed your mind with that thought. You have to repeat on daily basis. Yes, I have to do this. Yes, I have to do this. This here comes the role of faith in life. That's why it is important. For any goal, just repeat that thought into your, just feed your subconscious mind with that thought. Yes, I have to achieve. Yes, I have to achieve. So basically, I'm going to discuss two thought, two emotions which are really helpful. Whenever you do anything, you don't do without thought. Whenever thought comes into your mind, then only you do something. But if that impulse of thought is mixed, is blended with what emotions? What emotions? Emotions of faith and emotions of love. Then it has a very high chance of its execution is has a very high chance of its physical equivalent. That is why when there was a proper research conducted, that around 25,000 men, they had a backing of emotion of love. This is the reason that when this emotion, when this emotions of love get mixed with any impulse of thought, it has a very high chance of its physical equivalent, of its transmitted into its physical equivalent getting converted. So this was the overall picture of faith. So whenever you have to do achieve anything, achieve any goal, then please try this principle of repetition of orders. Give your subconscious mind feed your subconscious mind with orders that yes, you can do this, yes, you can do this, and ultimately it is going to incline you towards your goal. So that's it from my side. Thank you and have a nice day. Over to you, Kshitij.
Oh, that's a very good and interesting topic. Mind-blowing. Okay, Rahul, now you can speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. The topic on which I gonna discuss today is Uyghurs genocides. Maybe the both the terms you haven't listened in your life. So first I will explain you the both the term. The first one is Uyghurs. Uyghurs are the Muslim minority group that live in the northwest of the China. In my behind me, there is a red portion you can see in that. This is the place where the major portion of the Uyghurs Muslim live in China. These Muslims have their own culture, their own language. They do not look like Chinese, they do not have feelings like Chinese, but they are forced to be Chinese. About the palace Xinjiang, this is the largest province, which is about the 12th in the size of Bangladesh. Xinjiang has border with 8 countries, even with India. There are 76% the Uyghurs Muslims who live in Xinjiang. Xinjiang is an important place for China as from their mineral point of view. That is why they have been captured this place so that Russia cannot attack on them. Now we can go on our second term, that is genocides. We all know about 7 decades before, when someone tell you about the Hitler, the first thing that comes in our mind is Jews, and the second thing that comes in our mind are gas chambers. When the World War have ended, Hitler has died, everyone says never again. This would never again, because this is very bad for humanity. The same thing happens after 7 decades in China, where the Uyghur Muslims are forced to follow the Communist Party principles. They are forced to not follow their religion. They are forced, and the government keep them behind in the bars. There is a survey, according to survey, 1 per 10 Uyghur Muslim are behind bars. What the Chinese are doing with them? They has been settled concentration camp, which they called re-education camps. And all the peoples of the Uyghur Muslim who are not behind the bar under a surveillance system. This is the world most sophisticated surveillance system on the daily basis, in which police are at every corners, police are at every street, and every number plate of the car is being changed, every part, every face of the body is being scanned by the cameras. China says that they are doing this to curb the terrorism, but the world says this is the persecution. China sent the Muslim to the concentration camps. They are forced to memorize communist principle. Those who disobey are tortured. No Muslim can celebrate their festival, cannot wear their traditional clothes. And the same to humanity is that Uyghur Muslim women are forced to abortion, sterilization, so that the population of the Uyghur Muslim can be controlled. China has also launched a family program there. According to that family program, the minority group in the Xinjiang province, that is the Han Chinese, they allotted a single family of the Uyghur Muslims. What they have to do, they have to take care of the Uyghur Muslim and you report to the government what they are doing. So now the question arises what the world is doing on this topic, because peoples are forced, they are forced to live like what the king has been said. So the UN has said this to a worst part of the humanity, but UN has done nothing till now. The 22 Western nations raise this concern, and do you know what happens next? There are 37 nations who have defended China and say it is counter-terrorism operation. And the interesting fact in these 37 countries is that 14 of these countries are Muslim, which are the part of IOC. So what is IOC? IOC is basically a collection voice of Muslims. But when it comes on China, they become collective defense of China. The major country that claims them to defenders of the faith, and they defend the China rather than defending their own religion They are Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey, Malaysia, and Pakistan, which have the major portion as their Muslims. These are willfully blind to the China's unspeakable crimes against the users. These are silent because they have chosen the Chinese money over the they have chosen the Chinese money over their peoples. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iran have chosen Chinese money over Chinese Muslim. And when we talk about the Pakistan, as it says, beggars have no right to protest. I repeat, beggars have no right to protest because Pakistan is the biggest war from China. Thanks.
Okay. Now, Ashutosh.
Ashutosh,
Ashutosh, are you there?
1 minute. For those of you who were absent yesterday, we decided that we will have a cross question round also after this speech round, where the members will be asking questions regarding your speech if they have any. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Ashutosh.
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning everyone. I am Asutosh and today I will be talking about brain drain. So most of you have heard this word brain drain. What does it mean? Basically it means transfer of good skilled people, technically skilled people from one place to another, and that place varies. It varies from country to country, it varies from organization to organization, and it varies from state to state. Means it is not basically it is not basically that a particular people, a good skilled people have migrated from one country to another. It totally does not mean this term. It can happen in the state as well, it can happen within the organization as well. So this term is basically, it means that good skilled people, they migrate from one place to another. So the question arises, why do these people migrate? Why do they leave their organization? Why do they leave their country? Of course, as we see in physics, it is basically because that means the particles move from high pressure to low pressure. Same application applies here also. There is financial instability in the country in which they live, or might be there is political instability, and the country in which they migrate, it might be better for their prospects, their job aspects, but the main reason is education. What happens is that most of the countries provide primary education good, but when we come to the technical education or to the upper education, most of the countries fail in their prospects. So what happens is that the good people, the good mind, who are technically sound, who want to do something, they migrate to other countries, other locations where they have where the locations who can fill their appetite, means their appetite in education, and hence they settle there and they earn there, and they come back to their countries, but in holidays. That happen within country to country. What happens in organization is that one organization that pay them less, they transfer and migrate to other organizations. So this is transfer within the organizations, right? Okay, so we have learned why do this happen. So what are its advantages and disadvantages? So advantages include means that the countries that are highly developed, they get good brains, they get good people, good man force, and hence they keep developing more and more. And the less developed countries, they keep back, means they are underdeveloped, and so the gap remains. Moreover, we can say that the underdeveloped countries, they lack manpower, they lack skilled workforce, and hence they means they are not able to compete. So let's see what happens now. The people talk means they compare it with what it is called that they compare it with the country that okay, it does not have a self-esteem, and they transfer and they have migrated from different countries. So what does this mean is that we should not compare it with means how much motivation we have towards the countries, because it is appetite. If a cow does not have grass to eat, of course it will migrate from one country to another. Government should look into this matter, and what we can do is that okay, we can provide better opportunities here in the same country, or we can pay them more so that they could live in this country, and or the main principal thing that we can do is that we can improve our education system here, means in the country which is less developed. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Shekhar. Okay, Astos. Okay. Shekhar, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Can you start?
Okay. Hello everyone. So today my topic is contract farming. So first, what is contract farming? So let's say we have a piece of land and we are growing crops or some grains on the demand of some other company or farm, which are giving which are giving the cost of that grain to us, and the prices were determined before the farming. So this is basically contract farming. So it involves agricultural practices that is being carried out on an agreement between uh, farmers and the buyers at a price predetermined. So it has some advantage and has some drawbacks too. So in this age of industrial market globalization, small scale farmer will find it difficult in competing in market economy or participating in market economy. So what happened in some country, small farmer will become marginalized, and as a result of these consequences, big farmer or big farms uh, will uh, will becoming more profitable than any time, and small scale farmer will uh, will become more smaller. So here contract farming will be proved as a boom for this small scale farmer. What happens that this company will give those small scale farmer good handsome returns for their crops, as well as this company will provide latest technology, as well as some assisting with land preparation or providing advices related to farming. So, and according to uh, a survey showed that average revenue of a contract farm is about 11% higher than an average non-contract farm. So I think it is beneficial, and this contract farming is not new in India. Like in 2002, when at that time also Captain Amrinder Singh was the CM of Punjab, so he himself has introduced this law on in his state, and he has applied in his state too. And actually this law was proved very beneficial to the state. Actually uh, income of the farmer were increasing at that time. So due, but in 2007, when his government changed, like another party came in the ruling, this law become dull, and as as not getting proper funding or proper observation, so state government ended those law at that time. So if now, as we all know that uh, central government has introduced these three farm bills. So if central government plans to impose contract farming, a regulatory body is a must that will supervise, or in some cases of fraud can also form fast track court to fastly resolve or fastly look into this matter. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shekhar. Kaushal. Hello.
Hello. Yes, Siddesh.
Yes, Kaushal, you can start.
Okay, so today my topic is a rather very philosophical one. It is living the life. So, are we really living our life? The first question that I want to ask you all: are we really living our life in this ever growing and ever changing world where nothing is constant? We have definitely forgotten the term living. For many of us, living or existence in this world has just become a synonym of rat race, you can say, where we are competing with everybody else with the odds that seems like the whole world is against us. against us, but still we are fighting and running towards a certain goal. We have forgot that how blissful it is to be alive, to simply breathe, or you can say to simply exist in this ever expanding universe. We are the miracle of this non-miraculous world. We are the living thing in a non-living observable universe. We are made of the same stardust that makes the sun and moon, but still we feel that we are not special. We feel that we have come into this world without a purpose, and we will eventually die having no purpose. But that is not true at all. And I have learned this thing after I read a book that is When Breath Becomes Air, and it is written by Paul Kalanithi. And I have mentioned this book many of the times in my introductory sessions. So little bit about the writer. Paul Kalanithi is an Indian origin doctor who has achieved everything that one desired, like graduating top of his class from a university like Stanford, becoming a doctor, earning a hefty amount of salary, having a wonderful wife and a family, and also he is a good writer. But in this book, he talks about how his normal life changed when tragedy struck him like a truck, when he found out that he is diagnosed with a cancer that is untreatable by common medical tech advances or techniques. All his accomplishment, stress, goals, desires, everything became insignificant for him when he found out that his days on this world, on this earth is numbered, and he is in the same room, in the same chair where he once treated his patients. How the tables have turned exactly. Yet, instead of writing about the usual cliche narrative of, you can say, a dying protagonist, he writes the situation in a more beautiful way. He compares his life before cancer and after cancer, and and concludes really insightful points for his reader. He urges his reader to find a purpose for their life. He urges his reader to contribute to their society. He urges his reader to live their life at fullest, as only memories and good works can last the brutal effect of time. And finally, he quotes that even if I am dying, until I actually die, I am still living. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kushal. Now, Sandeep, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
You can start.
My voice is audible.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, you are audible, Sandeep. You can start.
Yeah. So today I am just sorry. I am Sandeep Singh, and I am here to tell about my topic. My topic is belief in God. Like in Indian system, we already know that we everyone believe that believe everyone says that belief in God, everything will be good, everything will be fine in the last. So I want to give my views on that thing. Like what is belief in God? So when we believe in God, we develop a self belief. Like if you are doing anything, so you develop a confidence in yourself, like God is with me and everything will be fine for me. You like I am doing some preparation for some exam, but that time sometimes we fear for, like we can fear that I will pass or not, I will qualify or not, something like that. But when you believe in God, so you say that everything will be on him. I just try and try, and if God thinks it is better for me, he will qualify for that. If God thinks it will not be better for me, God will not let me qualify that. So that is the system of belief which makes you to live properly. Like if you does not believe in anything, like any superpower, I'm not saying God only, you can think of any superpower, superior than you. So you will feel that you have some confidence, you have some belief in yourself, and everything will be good for you by your thinking. I want to state a point said by Steve Jobs in an university. I don't remember that university. He says that joining the dots, like if you join the dots of your past life, you will find that the things happen to you which you think at that time that this is not good for me. But right now, if you connect the dots from your past, you will find that that thing which at that time you thought was wrong, but then right now you will find that that will actually that will more beneficial thing for you. So I must say that God is have plans, God have plans, better plans for you. So he will make you sometimes fail, make you sometimes angry, but at last everything will be fine. So if you believe in God, but at sometimes you can say that everything is not fine, like someone lost their family member, someone lost their dear ones, near ones, but it is a part of system. You can't blame God for that, like why God do this thing only for you. Because if you compare that thing to any other people in the world, you find that you have much better luck than them. So it is not just a fact that bad happens to you, bad happens to everyone because it's a system. So just I want to say that just keep believing in God, and whatever you do, keep doing with trust on some other some superpower. So if you can do that thing in much better way, like you have remember a sentence like whatever you can do, just you just do, God will always near for you, near you to help you. So keep doing whatever you are doing, just believe, keep believing that you will be very fine, you will be very better work later. You will whatever you are doing, do by your heart, do by your heart, and you will find better results in the last. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Shubham, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here.
Yes, sir, you can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, I, Soham Gupta, is going to speak about the topic that what are the obstacles in the path towards transitioning to electric vehicles in India. As we all know that the Indian government has projected about 60%, 60 to 50% electric vehicles till 2030. And for this, there are a number of obstacles to achieve this target. So the first obstacle is of economical origin. Whenever I am talking about economical origin, so it comes for in two categories. First is consumer, and another one is distributor. So talking about the consumer viewpoint, so a normal car, a normal IC engine car can be sold at a price of 7 to 8 lakh, and the middle class can easily buy it. But when we are talking about electric vehicle, so the minimum cost of the electric vehicle costs around 60 lakh in India. And thus the middle class can't afford this much high amount. And because of only that reason, there is very less demand of electric vehicles in India. And that contributes to another problem. And that problem is there is very less high skilled workers in electric vehicle industry, distributors, and components sellers. So we can see that there is very less support system for electric vehicles. Until the time when we are not able to develop this support system, we can't urge the customers to buy electric vehicles, because that will be a hectic moment for them whenever there would be any damage in their vehicles. So they can't rely properly till now for electric vehicles, and we have to improve this situation. Now coming to the technological viewpoint. So talking about the technological viewpoint, we have to understand the main technology that is used in automobile in electric vehicle is of lithium ion battery. The main problem of lithium ion battery is that it can't charge a lot. The maximum which we have achieved till now is 120 kilometer after full charge of lithium ion battery, and it is not suitable for long distance travel. And even if we urge the customers to adopt this lithium ion battery with low mileage, we can say, so we have to develop a large network of charging unit. And even we haven't developed that charging unit network in India. With the number which what I can see, that about 300 charging units has been installed in India as compared to nearly 70,000 petrol or diesel pump in India. You can see the vast gap in numbers. Here 300 and another side 70,000. So we have to decrease this gap. We have to increase the number of charging units so that people can easily travel to across India in electric vehicles without any problem. So at last, I want to say that we have to improve the economical as well as technological problems in electric vehicles. And as engineers, as mechanical engineers, we should also devote our time towards electric vehicle so that the solutions can be developed from our side. Thank you.
Okay, Shubham. Now we will move on GD round, group discussion round, and let me show the screen. Is my slide is visible? Is my slide visible? Kaushal? Shekhar?
Yeah, slide is
Hello?
Yeah, slide is
slide.
completely.
Okay. Okay. I think the regulators have noted down the mistakes. And now we will move on group discussion round. Topic is the Farm Bill 2020. You guys are ready?
Yes.
Yes, we are ready.
Okay. I am initiating, and I hope that you will continue after this. Okay. The Farm Bill. 1 minute. Okay. Farm Bill 2020. I will say three things. The government has implemented three things. I will explain one thing that okay, the new legislation will create an ecosystem where the farmers and traders are free to sell and purchase their agri produce. What does it mean? This is the first answer. This is the first act. What does it mean? It means earlier the farmers were supposed to sell their agri produce in AMPC only. What is AMPC? AMPC is Agricultural Produce Market Committee. It is only in that place where the farmers are selling their products. If the farmers are belong to from let's suppose Kanpur Uttar Pradesh, then the farmers can only sell their product in AMPC Kanpur Nagar Uttar Pradesh. Now the choice is the farmers can only can sell their agri produce not only to the AMPC but also to the traders which are private traders like ITC, like PepsiCo, like any private company. They have choices, they have freedom. Also these companies can also purchase from these farmers. And the second thing is now the farmers, there is no barrier to sell and purchase. Farmers can sell and purchase in interstate and intra-state also. What does it mean? Interstate means if I am from Kanpur Nagar, Uttar Pradesh, then I can sell my agri produce to Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh AMPC, also to Prayagraj, Uttar Pradesh AMPC, also to Meerut, Uttar Pradesh AMPC. Any any intra-state means within the state we can sell our agri produce to any AMPC And also interstate means if I am belonging from UP, but and I can sell also to the UP, also to the Bihar, also to the Tamil Nadu, also to the Assam, any part of the country. And
Yeah, Kshitij,
in a
yeah, I agree with you.
yeah yeah
But previously there were collection of taxes if
yeah
the sale was out of mandis. But
yes yes
now
yes
the government has eradicated these taxes. But because of these taxes, it would act as incentive for the farmers to sell the products at the mandis because there were no tax collection there. But because of this tax collection, there would be no incentive for the farmers to sell these products on in mandis, and slowly and gradually there can be possibility that mandis can be eradicated, and that is the fear of farmers.
First of
Yeah,
all, I would like to say
APMCs.
that previously also there were no restriction for farmer to sell their
yes
crops outside any state, outside their area. And secondly, I want to say that today, like government is planning to remove middleman. So today, private player look onto APMC for a reference price today before this law. But if this law is passed, there will be no sorry, uh, but they can make transaction outside APMC Monday without any observation or paying any taxes. But recently, Narendra Singh Tomar has said that private player also have to pay taxes in the outside Monday.
Yeah, another point with the APMC is that it is the comes under the state government. So what happens when someone's mic is making noise? Yeah, it's fine. The another thing with APMC is that it comes up under state government. So the fear with Haryana and the Punjab farmer is that if in some state there are BJP government, if they have banned APMC or redirected APMC, fear in the farmer is that the another state farmer comes into their state and sell the crops. This is what happens in Bihar in 2006. This government, I think, is there and he abolished the APMC rules. So what the Bihar farmers do, they send their crops to the APMC of the Haryana and APMC of the Punjab. So APMC provides security to the farmers rather than providing them the other chances. They have MSP, they have security to the farmer that they can sell their crops there.
Also, one thing that the farm bill is undermining is that we have seen like our Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that this farm bill is is an really historic bill, okay, which is going to ensure that our entire farming ecosystem will change to one nation and one farming. Okay, one nation and one farming. It was the term that he used. I think. Yeah, one nation, one market. Sorry, not one farming, one nation and one market. But he is also undermining from this bill. He is also undermining the fact that agriculture and markets are state subjects, like they are subjects of the states. And if one market and one nation theory comes into play, then these subjects are going to be snatched away from the states. Entry number 14 and 28 respectively in the list 2 of constitution, it says that cooperative federalism should happen in between states and center. But when this bill will come into play, it will really take the important issues like agriculture and market from states, and it will be a kind of a issue for center only. That will really destroy the cooperative federalism structure of our nation.
Yeah, the
And
same has
I think
happened with
the
GST. In GST, the previously they were VAT, and the taxes were collected by the state government. But now the whole taxes are is collected by the central government, and then center distribute the tax to state government. And in recent years, after the coronavirus outcome, there were many instances when the state government was not able to receive taxes from central government, and the state government was blanked out. They were not able to understand that what they can do. They only have one thing to get the money, and that is from the petrol, and they impose cess, and they have introduced a high amount of cess to get the money. So here we can see that how the problematic thing can happen if we are drawing the power from the state government and giving very less power. We have taken the power of taxes, and now we are taking the power of farming. So how the state government can earn revenue? The taxes also has been eradicated if we are selling out of the mandis. So this source also has been eradicated for the state government. The state government are becoming very much less powerful, and the whole power is coming to the central government.
I think pulling the political view in the farm bill is not good because it is the Shiv Sena parliament members who supported the bill in the parliament. But when it comes to the Maharashtra, they oppose the bill. So political views keep aside, and then you discuss of what the farmer wants and what it actually the government should
Yeah,
do now.
also in the in recent time, media is saying, and also our prime minister said that opposition is trying to misguide the farmers about the farm bill. But one more thing is this farmers are not protesting from like September alone. The ordinance came in June 2020, and the farmers were protesting from there also, from in June also, regarding this farm bill, that without consulting, how are you taking such a really strong bill and you are passing it in a rush? How are you doing this? So political influences aside, farmers have their fears that needs to be answered by the government, I think. And one of the major fear is that the government is going to eradicate MSP. Although not a single bill directly says that they are going to eradicate or they are going to stop the MSP, but they are feared that it may happen that MSPs will like stop.
Yeah,
I
there is
think it will
another
solve
fear.
by the
So,
government
Kaushal is
directly.
saying, like Kaushal has said, that this bill has not been discussed. Yes, it is a right point. But let me tell you that this bill is not a new bill. This bill, the initiation of this
Yes.
bill was around 2001. So I think this bill has been discussed around 20 years back only with some experts from government. And so it is not a new bill. It came into existence just after 2000, and since then many state governments have applied this. Okay. Now the next point, the MSP case. The case of MSP is really fighting for farmers. Yes, it is. But MSP was never in any bill. It was always issued by notification. So this time also, it will be issued by notification. But we can say a false hype has been created. Like what government want is, like what farmers are saying that please include MSP into the bill. But since the time MSP was here, MSP came into play, as MSP came into effect. There was no role of mentioning MSP into the bill. It always used to come via notification. So again, it will come via notification.
I
I
think one
totally agree
point
with
that we
Prashant's
are
point,
Yes,
misjudging.
yes, Prashant. Yes, I agree.
and I want to agree that in MSP was not a, means not a major factor in agricultural produces because we can see the data that about 6% of the total products means they were sold in the government mandis, and 94% were sold either to the artias or to other private sectors. So we can say that MSP is not an important consideration now. Means in the practical world, MSP cannot be considered. We can say that.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I want
I
important
to
point.
even
add the fact that according to 2015 Santa Kumar committee report, you are Astos is saying that only 6% of farmers have access to those MSP system. So we can see that more than 90% of farmers have been out of the ambit of MSP based procurement system. So this major issue is with dependence on the middleman, commission agent, and red tapeism of APMC official.
Yeah, an
Yes,
important
I
point I want to
agree
raise
with
is
you.
here is that of
Yes.
contact farming.
Yes.
Under contact farming, there is a line pointed that if there is any legal dispute between the farmer and the multinational corporation or any company, then the dispute can be raised only in the office of subordinate district magistrate. That is, it can't be raised in court. So that has taken a lot of power of farmers that they can't go to court if they and if any dispute happen. District magistrate only can solve their problems, and so this point should be discussed, I think.
Yeah, Shubham, like you have mentioned that they have not given the power to go into the court. Yes, that is right. That is right. But have you thought why it was done? It was done definitely in for the favor of farmer. You know why? Because if he's like fighting with any corporate, then of course farmer cannot spend. If he is a very poor farmer, then how he will face the or will tackle the fees of that lawyer. So due to this thought only, what government has done, like dispute has to be settled with the DMs, so that can that can reduce the cost of lawyer, and it like it is going to be settled into 2 to 3 mechanism, if not SDM, then to DM. So I think this was the case why there was no and already there is a lot of pressure on our judiciary system. So due to this factor, I think they have considered not to include
But
this
Yes,
also,
yes,
factor.
Prashant.
Prashant, also like
Yes,
you are
Prashant.
also undermining this fact that bureaucracy is also one of the most corrupt branches of government. I can say, if a corporate have influences, we know that corporate have influences and have a lot of money. So is there not a chance that they are not going to pay money or to pay money to a DM or SDM to give like orders in favor of them? At least if a farmer was going to court, if he has the right to go to court, then even if court has pressure, he had slight chances of justice, that okay fine, court will see into the matter. But when we go to only bureaucracy, what I think is that farmers should be given the choice of going to courts also, instead of only going to bureaucracy. Instead of restricting themselves only to bureaucracy, they should also go to court if the problem is really severe, so that they can get feeling of this trust that okay, government is doing this thing for them, for the farmers only, for the well-being of farmers only.
I
Yeah,
think
we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
all know
I
that
regarding
think
the
how bureaucracy runs.
MSP.
this
Hello.
Bureaucracy
can be
runs with
included. This can be
with the
included.
leadership of
But
political parties. Political parties very much control bureaucracy, and this is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
with
kind
the
of.
case of
Okay,
judiciary. Judiciary is very much independent, but when we comes
but
for
we have
bureaucracy,
also
it
have to
can't.
consider that. Okay, but when we are blaming few cases, so we have to consider that in general cases, like if we have any problem, we go to police. We just believe in the police. So like that, we also have to believe in the bureaucracy part. Without believing in that, you can't do anything. We are living in a democratic country, and here we just can't go for everything to the judiciary. So we have
yes,
just believe, and then if any problem occurs there, then we see later on there
like
will we can protest later on also after
hmm,
the problems still they are done some problems there, so we can protest, or we can call government for reform in the bill. But first we have to see now how it affects the people and how it do.
But
yes.
the government
No,
is saying that
Sandeep is
okay,
right.
it is
Like
my way or highway.
The one point that Subham has raised, that the for a farmer going to district magistrate or going to court is not easy for him. This is the point that Subham has raised. We have misinterpreted the point. Subham wants to say that farmer should have given a MSP so that there is no dispute between. And 2 or 3 minutes ago, everyone discussing that government does not include MSP. But when you think indirectly, the first law that has been Kshitij has been explained to you, that the cost is decided by the buyer and the farmer. There should be no allowance of the government in the cost. So here is the indirectly interpretation of the government that MSP should not be there. And two
Yeah,
or
the
three points are also that we are not concluding in this are if farmer are also protesting for what withdrawal of their electricity bill, and second is that government have removed some commodities that are major from the commodity list. This is also the another factor or another bill that has been passed by government which are protesting by the farmers. So I
yeah, the
think the
farmers does not possess so much legal intelligence also that they can interpret the bill. They interpret the context. which will be between the company and the farmer. So here they can be easily exploited by the multinational companies who can write the contract in pages and pages, and they are also afraid that their land can be also taken aback by the multinational companies if they are not able to fulfill the contract. So this fear, this legal fear, can't be eradicated with only saying that there would be MSPs, there would be all good. The only by saying this,
Yeah.
the prime minister is saying this every time that everything would be good. But how to eradicate this fear of legal? We
Yes,
all know
Shubham.
that.
I think your point is very good, and I should throw some light on that. What if we made some standard notes which write contract date from this to this, and government has clearly mentioned in that contract there will be no mention of land. So land is safe with the farmer. Okay. Now you agree?
No, it
There
is
will be no
not
issue of
like that,
land into
Prashant.
that
You are
contract.
just
So this fear can be minimized if the contract is standard. Like from this date to this date, what subject mentioned this, and this. Nothing more will be issued into this. So if a contract
that one
note is
is
standard, then of course this fear can be eradicated. And the last time I was muted because my mic was not
Yeah,
working. So
Prashant,
what Kaushal has
but
said that we can go to judiciary. This is also right. But like we can include court also. But the first step should be this dispute settle mechanism between this SDM and DM, and then after this we can go to the court. So that because it can save the cost of farmer.
yeah,
So,
Prashant, but
but one thing is that, like, if the bureaucracy gives decision in favor of farmer, but if the company, that multinational company, if that says that I will not follow this order, I will go to court. So if the company go to court and then so then in that case, farmer have to go up and down to court and home. So he may not do what he wants to do at home. He only have to go court, and you know that how much time court takes in India and how much money also it takes. So it may be affect the farmers
Time factor
economically.
is another thing, Sandeep. Like going to court is not going to holiday. They are going because they want justice. So if anything wrong happens and at the bureaucracy level, if they are not able to resolve the issue, then they can go to court. What I'm trying to say.
Yes,
I'm not saying that
we should
directly
give
go to
we
court.
should give them an
but
option.
the
Okay.
But
question is that why should they need to go for any district
yeah.
magistrate? If all things are going fine from the last few years, no one need to go there. Then why should the bill is something that complicated the farmer? They are uneducated. Most of the farmer uneducated in India. They want a
So
clear path for them.
Rahul, let me tell you why
Yes,
there is
yes,
a
yes,
need
yes.
to
Yeah,
implement this
yes,
bill.
yes,
Let me
Rahul.
tell you why.
Yes, Rahul. That I want to say.
Your mic is muted, Prashant.
the time has been completed. 20 minutes has been
Let it
completed.
let it continue. Let it continue. Restart the time.
Yeah, Kaushal. Sorry, Kaushal. Rahul,
Shubham,
just listen me. What happened in the year 1991? There was a major economic reform which happened in our country. Okay, that economic reform was basically globalization, liberalization of economy, and inclusion of privatization. Like private company were coming into existence. Okay, but in that process, agriculture was kept apart. Agriculture was not a part of that economic reform. Okay. So now let me tell you, in 1993 to 1994, the income difference between a person who was related to agriculture sector and those and who was in the non-agriculture sector was 25,000. It was around 25,000. Okay, because privatization really helped in booming of the economy. Okay, after 2 to 3 years in 1997 1998, it went up to the gap increases up to 53,000, and again in 2001 it increases in 2003 to 2004 it increases by 1.42 lakh. So are you seeing everyone else apart except farmer, their wealth is increasing, everything is increasing, but the gap between the farmers and the non-agricultural sector is, it is increasing. So
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we can,
Prashant, we can
if
see the
if
example of
if
USA
our
here
income is
also.
increasing, if our income is increasing, then why farmer don't have that power to connect, to use globalization, to use liberalization into its favor? So now this is a time
Hello,
to give them
Prashant.
power.
Hello, Prashant. Let me
Yeah.
listen for
See,
let listen
Prashant.
me
See.
for a minute.
Yes, yes.
That the question is that here the income of the farmer, government has said that income of farmers increased. But when you look directly into the matter, is it really increasing? Then the answer that you find is no. The reason
No,
why
no,
the
no,
first
no,
bill
no.
is the removing of the
I will tell this.
No,
APMC.
Why the income of farmer is not increasing? Let me tell
That's
you.
what I am telling. Na.
The thing is
That's what I
that
am
the
telling.
reforms.
Yeah, we can see the example
No,
of
we
USA,
Yeah,
we
let
where
me.
cannot say
majority
Yeah,
that
of
why
the
the
income of
why the
farmers
agriculture
has
income
not
is
is controlled
increased.
by
If we
the
take the example
private
of like,
sector, where
yes,
majority of the agriculture is controlled by the private sector in USA, and there is a lot of technical as well as sustainability of agriculture. The farmers are they are very rich. Only 3% are involved in agriculture, and they are rich. But only because of the private sector. Because whenever we are talking about private sector, there is inflow of capital, and that capital can be used in research purposes, in researching the soil, the crops which can be grown there, and all with all the agriculture technology we possess now, which is not available to the farmers, that can be made available to the farmers with the introduction of this farm bill. Because we all know that how much research the private companies how much money the private companies contribute towards the research, and this technical factor can't be unseen. So with the
Yeah,
introduction of this private sector,
Yes,
there
yes,
would be
yes.
inflow of capital as well as inflow of technical advancement, as well as sustainability. Organic farming would be there in larger scale, which has happened in USA, and it has been happening for 20 years. And so we should also adopt that, but the implementation should be in such a way that the farmers does not possess any program, and that program has been happening in Kenya, where in 1990 such type of farm law were implemented. In starting they were all good, all fine, they were good, getting good price, good money, but after 5 years there were monopoly. Only one or two companies survived, and the farmers were selling the goods, selling their products at a loss of 5 to 6% at minimum. So here we can see the example of Kenya, where such type of law were passed like our India, and in USA where such type of law were passed like our India. So we are seeing the two faces of a coin, head and tail, and we have to understand that the implementation is where we have to point out. And if the farmers are facing problem, we have to eradicate that. We can't say that there is no problem. We have to understand their legal as well as financial concerns, which are very much we have to pay attention. Yeah.
Comparing Indian farmers, USA farmers is not a good thing, first of all. They have much even difference. India is totally farmer-based country. And what the farmers are saying that, yes, we can do business with the private organization, but you should keep APMC, MSP there, so that minimum price should be
yeah,
given to us.
the
Or the third
farmers
thing
are,
that
yeah, farmers are demanding that we should not make the complete privatization of agriculture sector. Rather, we can make a partial privatization of public farming sector, where farmers are able can have this liberty to sell their products to the corporates also. Also, they should have this APMC with MSP, so that they can have both the options of selling the crop, so that the fear of this complete privatization of their sector should be eradicated,
Yeah,
can
there
be
should not
eradicated,
be
sorry.
monopoly. Like in
another
telecom sector, there is monopoly. There has been created a
Yeah.
monopoly, and the same monopolies of private sector should not be there in agriculture, because agriculture is the medium through which a large number of people earn their money, earn their livelihood.
Yeah, also
and there are
yeah.
two or three points that we have not let it into our discussion is the government has removed major commodities like grains, pulses, oil seed, edible oils, onions, and potatoes from the list of commodity. So let me explain you what is the Commodity Act. Act was passed in 1955, in which the basic needs like fuel, pulses, potatoes, these are the main things that everyone use in their house, are come into the government controls. Means the holders of these things are the government. Now what the government has done, have given this to the private organization. So the problem that comes in front of the farmer is that the private organization just take the holders there, and after some time when there is less product in the market, so what they do, they just increase the price of the product, And another point that the government concluded, included, we can say in the bill, that government cannot come into the bill or change in the bill until the price rise is very high. This is what the government said. So farmers are also looking for the middle class also. They are saying that if everything goes into privatization, they can do whatever they want, price will increase. And for a farmer, if price is increased from 10 to 15 rupees, it is much higher. But when you see it on the surface level, it was just lower one. And another thing with APMC is that government also removing FIC. There is FCI, Food Commodity of India, in which that commodity provide 2 rupee per kg of rice, 2 rupee per kg of what we say,
Dal and
flour,
other things.
grains. These
Flour
are
and
the government is removing all these things. What the government said, that if you are giving a 30 rupee dal to you in 2 rupees, then we have loss of 28 rupees. And in our, there is a person who had written article in that this is the biggest loss welfare program of the any government. Means in other than India, no government provide you 2 rupees in 2 rupees the whole pulse for a month, but the Indian
Yeah.
government has done.
Rahul is right, because initially this Commodity Act came into play in 1955. Am I right, Rahul?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in 1955, after back-to-back famines that our country faced, and during that time we also had this Great Bengal famine where millions of people died, not single people, millions of people died due to starvation, and still our country has like very large poverty section of population. 60% of the population lives in rural areas still. And this Commodities Act came into play because in during the time of famine we had to purchase the same commodities that are listed in before in 1955 from the developed countries at higher prices. Because of that, what happened, the prices of the food product that were really necessary for us became really high, and common people were not able to purchase them or hold them. That is why government take passed this bill that said, okay, fine, we will provide MSP to these commodities things, and we will store them into this food corporation thing, where we will sell it at minimum price, so that every person in this country can can purchase them. But after this thing is eradicated by this bill, then our huge population will not have this benefit of getting these necessary items at very low price.
Okay, there has been
One
30
thing,
minutes. 30 minutes has been passed out, so we should end this group discussion. The time has been exceeded there. So yeah, Kshitiz.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Okay, so that was a really good video.
another point that has been also missed is that the electricity bill subsidy is also removed by government, and we must aware that in the farming electricity bill is the most important. It is the most highest price. It is the most expensive thing that a farmer face. If you remove subsidy over it, then it will be harmful for the farmers. And government should have to take all the bill back. What the Modi has said, that they will wait for a long time. April will come and farmer will go back to the work. So the problem here in front of us, that if farmer will not go back, they have just said directly that they will burn our whole crop if the government won't take the bill back. So a prior problem of the local food comes in the urban areas. So government should look into the matters. And there are few bills that should have been changed, and there are few bills that have been took back by the government, I think.
Yeah, I think that Rahul has very deep connection, about, very deep understanding of these farm laws. The emotional side, I think that we are speaking with intellectual.
Overall, we can say now that the intention of government is really good. Intention of eradicating and reforming this thing is really good, but they have this, this kind of sense that okay, farmers have to take our way, or can take highway. Okay, go.
But the thing is, Kaushal, hello, Kaushal. But the thing is now, this is reform is not new. This is already had been from
Yeah, yeah.
2003, as the Prashant had said. But the thing is, most of the farmers did not know these things. These are the MSPs, and these all are things. They as the Santanath committee had as the Shekhar mentioned, the Santanath committee thinks that the 6% people are rich farmers, not 6%, are 14%. Farmers are getting the price of MSP. Rest are 86% farmers are not getting the price of MSP. Let's say if 1800 rupees is the MSP, then at the ground level, farmers are getting 1000 rupees. 1800 rupees is the price is set by the. Only the rich farmers are getting benefited from the this MSP.
Thing with MSP is that na, if the farmers who are getting MSP, they absolutely like it, and those who are unaware of it,
yes. That's the thing. And the government the government has the responsibility to take aware all of these things, and then that should be implemented to the farmers, so they will get know about this, and all the farmers will benefit from this.
Instead of one nation, one market, government should be like one nation, one MSP.
For the APMC.
I think also the things on the letter are much different what the real world is.
You know why this happens? This happens due to the inefficiencies which happens. This happens due to the corruption which happens in APMC. If maize is at 1800, they are bought by the middleman at the cost of.
That's
just wait a minute. The one thing.
To the owner of,
Hello, Prashant.
the person who is coordinating APMC. So why privatization is needed? When privatization will come into the field, they will face tough competition, and they will come into the verge of existence. So that will enable it. That will enable APMC to work
privatization. I know that privatization is a necessity, but the same 1 liter of water that is free, it comes into hand of private company, they sell it for 30 rupees.
There will be a competition.
We are going away from our topic.
What happens when private will come into market? There will be competition, and whenever there is competition, there is always a benefit of consumer. I'm not saying APMC will completely vanish. It is not the case, because privatization has been into existence into various states, but still APMC are working fine. But whenever competition increases, it is going to give benefit.
Listen me a minute, Prashant. Listen me. You have talked about middleman man. One of the agenda that has been taken by the Punjab farmer is that if you apply these all bills, middlemen will removed. And this would be a lot of problem for thousands of the people who are the middlemen, who have taken loan on their head. If you remove them just in a sudden way,
that means you are advocating for middlemen. Like you also want to sell your crops to middlemen.
This is not what I am saying. This is what the committee, the Punjab committee that is took the issue in the center government, they have said this. If you remove the middlemen directly, then it would not be good, because they have loans, so they have their family to feed.
Removing them directly. Who is APMC will be there, man. There are a lot of states which has applied this privatization, and still APMCs are functioning into them. But they are facing tough competition.
The bill is
APMC.
One example that I want to give you. Just listen me. In 2006, Bihar have removed APMC, and what happened next? The normal farmers of the Bihar just go to the Haryana or Punjab to send their food. Then it is basic idea what happened after 2 or 3 years when you remove APMC. If
I know. Like there is one case.
Then why they go to Haryana, Punjab?
There may be one case. Why? But why are you ignoring Maharashtra? Maharashtra also has a privatization, and they both are working very, in a very good manner. So we can have example, but the government is not trying to completely vanish. Like this is the time of implementing this bill, because from the period 1995 to 2003, agriculture has seen 5 times negative growth. You're getting my point? 5 times negative growth means I'm putting 100 rupees, I'm earning 90 rupees. This is called negative growth. So if everyone is earning, then why can't these farmers? So they should be given a level field for playing. So this is a time for this implementation. Yes, I know this bill has a lot of problem, so it can be solved with mutual cooperation. But I think this is a
I
time to
think
implement.
rather than implementing such a big, the government should focus on the corruption from the farmer to their what tax place. This is what they look for. And another thing, they should look for how the facility they provide to the farmers so that the growth will increase rather than
Yeah,
just
exactly,
remove
Rahul, you're very
MSP.
right that the
This
government
is
should
wrong
focus on
thing.
corruption. But let me tell you that no government can remove corruption because corruption is the root cause, and that can be improved only when we are right, when
Then
we are
we will
morally correct.
improve
If you
ourselves.
will be given corruption, you will also take it. If he will be given, he will
If
also
there
take
is
it.
bureaucracy,
So
there is
We have to
corruption.
create
this can
a
be ended by
atmosphere of
ourselves.
that.
According to Prasad,
But we have
if
to
I
limit
cannot change, if we
ourselves
cannot
to
change it,
farm bill only. Na? We don't have to
yeah,
discuss about the democratic
I
statement of
think
our
we should
country. We just have
end
to
session
stick
here.
with the
Yeah,
farm bills.
I think we should end session here. Kausal, you may
yeah,
conclude it.
Yes, yes, it is very lengthy.
And
okay,
another thing, just
Rahul,
memorizing the what the minister has.
म्यूट कर दिए नो प्रॉब्लम
कौन म्यूट कर दिया भाई? Who muted Rahul?
आई डोंट नो
Shekhar, did you do it?
ओके कौशल I think we should end session here and we may conclude it.
Yeah, we have to end the session.
Evaluation is remaining.
Yes, evaluation I have sent in the group.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
we will see in group.
Okay, we will send the evaluation to group. Okay.
Okay. Thank you all guys.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Also,
everyone.
Shriti, send like the topic of next GD in the group.
Yes. Okay.
And who is the organizer? Shekhar, you are the organizer for this week. So select the rules also for the next week. All right. That who is going to be the organizer and conductor of this thing. Okay. Okay then. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.